Hello and welcome to another video. Today is March 10th. It's a Monday. It's a very typical day in regards to work. If you've followed before, you'll know that I live in Abu Dhabi and work as a university lecturer in Dubai a couple days a week. And today is one of those days during Ramadan. So this is not going to be very tourist focused like before. This is for the people who are perhaps thinking about relocating here but are not sure about the cultural differences. The most cultural differences you will experience is during this time, which is very peaceful. I enjoy it very much. I admire those who are fasting incredibly because I'm not sure I would have it in me. And as a person who's not fasting, surrounded by people who are, I want to show you how myself and many others kind of handle that. It's because of my job, obviously, I spend hours upon hours talking. You just physically can't speak after a certain amount of time. So I just have to take breaks and take water. So I plan on recording those little snippets throughout the day today, and hopefully somebody finds this useful or interesting or informative. Yalla, let's go. Rewatching this, I realized that there's much more to be said about Ramadan. So instead of reciting something you can find on your own on Wikipedia, let me share some insights I picked up while living here in the UAE. These are things I heard from friends, colleagues, saw on social media, local Facebook or WhatsApp groups, or even the news. First of all, while it can generally be predicted when it will start, it actually starts when the new moon or hilal is seen. Now, there's an interesting part that I would never know without living here, and that's that there's a special committee that is responsible for the moon sighting, and it's called the Ramadan Crescent Moon Sighting Committee, and they have a phone number that the newspapers publish every year and ask people to call it should they spot the crescent moon. And that's the committee that essentially announces the start of Ramadan. So the day I filmed this, it was the 10th day, and in a minute I'll tell you a bit about the eating in public parts. That was a record. I arrived in 45 minutes. Sip of water before going in. Let's go. It normally takes me 50-ish minutes to 1 hour, obviously mostly depending on traffic. Driving changes during Ramadan because work hours shift. From what I've heard, people who typically do 9 to 5 shorten their workday by 2 hours. So the traffic peak shifts from 5 to 3 p.m. Other than that, I heard on the radio that car accidents are more common. From social media, I've picked up that you should try and avoid drinking and or eating while on the road. But frankly, whenever I ask any of my Muslim friends about these rules, they would always say it doesn't bother them seeing other people eat or drink. Although there's fines for so-called distracted driving, which includes consuming food at any time of year. So there's that. Now, on to the workspace. As you watch me answer some emails in between classes, there's a very important thing I learned, or perhaps the most important, and it's that this 1 month is not about suffering. If you're from the West, like me, all you've ever heard about it revolved around fasting, abstaining from food, and even water from sunrise to sunset. However, what I've come to learn is that it's actually a very cherished period filled with spirituality and, yes, self-discipline as well. And that's a big part of it. However, I'd say that the focus is on prayer, including additional prayers during the night, charity, which is called zakat, simplicity, and of course, community and family. Time for a sandwich. I just wanted to clarify one thing. I could still go to a nearby mall or a nearby cafeteria even and have proper lunch. However, I just don't have the time. That's why I brought my own food. The only difference between when it's not Ramadan and now is that I would eat it in the office. And some people do, by the way. I have students who are exempt from fasting and they will just ask their classmates if they're okay with it and eat their lunch. That's about it. People normally don't mind. However, I admire them so much for being able to do this. I genuinely don't think I could. So I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. I'm not sure I could handle the smell of food if I'm not eating for a long period of time. So yeah, that's about it. I know I just gave you a whole speech about how it's not all about food, but you might still ask, how does that work in practice? Well, yes, in the past, I've had other expats who have lived here longer tell me that restaurants used to be closed during the day. Then the next step was putting up curtains separating people who were dining from hallways and others passing by. But now on the outside, there's pretty much no difference at all. Keep in mind that this is only true for tourist areas or places where there's much more foreigners than locals, because if you think about it from a business perspective, it makes sense. If a restaurant is situated in a neighborhood where 99% of the people are fasting during the day, including the restaurant staff, why would it keep open while there's no customers? Later on, I'll take you to a mall in Abu Dhabi right before sunset. But now, here is a video I captured at a gas station, a McDonald's with blinders rolled down, which at the time of recording, I thought it was surely because of fasting, but now I realize it was just probably because of what blinders are for, which is to block the sun. Made it home, warmed up some soup, and now I'm on my way to meet with a friend. Got to make a quick stop at the mall, so I'll use the opportunity to show you what it's like because it's still daylight. This is Yas Mall, which truthfully is rarely that crowded. However, right before Iftar, it turns almost empty. Another thing that changes are the opening hours. For comparison, normally it's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays and then till midnight on weekends. And here I won't add any music so that you can enjoy the quietness. Next up, I went to see a friend and captured the beautiful sky as the sunset was right around the corner. We went for a walk and then dinner at the golf club, and right below the balcony, there was an iftar taking place. Hello, it's the next week. The video hasn't been edited yet, so I thought I'd add this. I'm at Expo Dubai, where they do an iftar, I believe, every evening. And the other day I went for an iftar with my work colleagues, which obviously I didn't want to film them. So I came back to show you this.
يلتحل دور معتدل سر إلى الأمام